Ever feel like finances are speaking another language? Like you need a translator just to understand your own bank statement.
It can definitely feel that way sometimes.
Well, that's why we're diving into Finanzas para no financieros, a book that promises to demystify the world of finance.
Exactly. It's all about making financial concepts accessible and practical, even if you don't have a background in business.
No MBAs required here. We're all about that. So let's jump right in. The book starts by tackling two fundamental concepts, contabilidad and finanzas. And I have to admit, when I first saw those words, I thought, oh no, here comes the boring terminology. But it's actually a really clever way to set the stage.
It is. The authors make a point right away on page 12, emphasizing that accounting and finance, while distinct, are completely intertwined.
Okay, so like two sides of the same
Oh,
coin.
exactly. Think of accounting as keeping track of all the financial details. Every single transaction, every dollar that comes in and goes out.
So every coffee, every online impulse buy. Got to track
Yeah.
it all.
You got it. Finance then takes that data, that raw material, and turns it into strategic decisions.
Okay, I'm liking where this is going. So less about the latte itself, more like, is this daily latte habit derailing my bigger financial goals?
Precisely. It's about seeing the bigger picture. Are you using your resources effectively? Are you on track to achieve your goals?
And how do we get this financial big picture view?
One of the most important tools is the income statement. It's a financial snapshot that shows how much money a business made, how much it spent, and ultimately whether it made a profit.
Income statements, I got to be honest, sometimes they feel like they're written in another language.
I hear you. But Finanzas para no financieros breaks it down in a way that's actually understandable. Figure 2 on page 16 is particularly helpful. It lays out all the different parts of the income statement revenue, cost of goods sold, those operating expenses, and shows how they all fit together to determine the bottom line.
Speaking of where the money goes, there's this quote on page 25 that really stuck with me. En muchas ocasiones, los administradores se preguntan a dónde va el dinero si la empresa es exitosa en ventas.
Basically meaning even successful businesses can lose track of their spending.
It's so true, and it happens to the best of us. But luckily, there are tools to help us out, right?
Absolutely. And the book dives into one of them called vertical analysis.
Vertical analysis. Tell me more. What is that exactly?
So imagine breaking down each of your expenses as a percentage of your total revenue. It gives you a really clear picture of where your money is going.
So instead of just seeing one big, scary expenses number, you can see exactly what's eating up the budget. That's incredibly useful information to have. It's like having a financial detective on your side, helping you understand those spending patterns.
Exactly. And then you can use those insights to make better decisions, whether it's for your business or even just your personal finances.
Speaking of making better decisions, the book dives into another powerful tool. It's called horizontal analysis. Have you ever wanted to compare your finances from this year to last year to see how you're doing, track progress?
Absolutely. It's a fantastic way to spot trends, see what's working, what might need adjusting.
That's exactly what horizontal analysis does, but for businesses. It's like holding up a mirror to a company's performance over time.
Exactly. And Finanzas para no financieros walks us through a great example.
Yeah, they use XYZ key RP, and they analyze their financials from 2016 and 2017. It's on pages 29 through 32 if you're following along.
What's fascinating is how they use this analysis to pinpoint specific areas of improvement. For example, they found that while XYZ KEOP's revenue grew by over 12%, their cost of sales only increased by 8%.
Wow, so they're making more money, but their expenses aren't skyrocketing at the same rate. That spells good news for their bottom line.
Exactly. It indicates they're becoming more efficient, managing their resources really well, and that's something we can all learn from.
For sure. Whether you're running a business or just trying to manage your own personal finances, those principles of efficiency, they're universal.
Absolutely. Imagine applying that same kind of analysis to your own budget. Could be eye-opening. Maybe you'll find areas where you can cut costs without sacrificing on things that are important to you.
Or maybe you're doing great. Maybe you've been super efficient and you find you have a little extra wiggle room in the budget.
Exactly. Information is power, right? It's about making informed choices.
Now, we've talked a lot about the numbers side of things, but this book doesn't shy away from the human element of finance either. It's not just about spreadsheets and formulas, is it?
It's about people making decisions, people being impacted by those decisions, and that's where the role of the financial manager becomes crucial.
They're the ones who have to synthesize all that data, all those numbers, and turn it into a coherent strategy.
It's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
Because they're essentially steering the ship when it comes to a company's financial well-being.
They've got to think about the short term, like, do we have enough cash on hand to cover our expenses this month?
Right. But then they also have to keep the long-term picture in mind, making sure the company is financially healthy for years to come.
That's a constant balancing act.
It is. And Finanzas para no financieros actually uses a really helpful analogy to explain this balance. They talk about liquidity versus solvency. It's on pages 20 to 22.
Liquidity versus solvency. Okay, break that down for me.
So liquidity is all about having enough cash on hand to pay the bills today. It's like short-term financial smoothness.
Got it. So, like, can I cover my immediate expenses?
Exactly. Solvency, on the other hand, is more about the long term. It's about having a solid financial foundation. Like, are your assets greater than your liabilities? Can you meet your financial obligations down the line?
Okay, so liquidity is the short game, and solvency is about playing the long game with your finances.
Exactly. And a good financial manager needs to be skilled at both. They even get into the different roles within a financial team, like the controller versus the treasurer.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask about that. I found that part fascinating. It's like a whole ecosystem of financial expertise.
It is, and each role is vital. The controller is laser focused on the accuracy of financial records, making sure everything is accounted for. And then you have the treasurer, who's more focused on managing the company's cash flow, investments, all of that.
It's like they each have their own area of expertise, but they have to work together, right?
Mhm.
To make sure the company's in good shape financially.
Teamwork makes the dream work, especially when it comes to something as important as finance.
It's giving me a whole new appreciation for what goes on behind the scenes at companies, all the moving parts, all the different people involved in making sure things run smoothly.
Absolutely. And it really highlights how those same principles apply to our own lives, even if we're not running a huge corporation. It's about understanding the importance of planning, of managing our resources wisely.
Totally. And thinking about those trade-offs, right? Like, how much short-term gratification am I willing to sacrifice for long-term financial stability? It's a constant juggling act.
Oh, it is. And just like a financial manager has to weigh those different factors, so do we. But instead of thinking about it as a burden, what if we reframe it
Reframe it how?
as an opportunity to take control of our finances, to make choices that align with our goals and values? Because at the end of the day, isn't that what financial freedom is all about?
Right. Like, instead of stressing about money, what if we could approach it with a sense of, I don't know, maybe even excitement?
Exactly. It's about shifting our mindset from I have to I get to.
I love that. And speaking of empowering choices, there's this concept from Finanzas para no financieros that's really stuck with me. Opportunity cost. It's like this hidden factor in every financial decision we make.
It is, and it's often called the invisible price tag. Because every time we say yes to one thing, we're inherently saying no to something else.
Okay, so give me an example. How does that play out in real life?
Well, let's say you're thinking about going on that dream vacation. It's expensive, but you've been working hard and you really want to treat yourself. The opportunity cost is all the other things you could do with that money.
Like maybe investing it, paying down debt, or even just keeping it in savings for a rainy day.
Exactly. So it's not just about whether you can afford the vacation. It's about whether it's the best use of your resources right now, given your overall goals.
It's like that saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Every decision has a cost, even if it's not immediately obvious.
Exactly. And understanding opportunity costs can help us make more intentional decisions about where we're spending our time, our money, our energy. It's about aligning our choices with what truly matters to us.
I'm so glad we dug into this book. It's given us a lot to think about, not just about understanding financial statements, but also about the human side of finance.
Me too. It's been great chatting with you about all this.
And for our listeners, if you're looking for a practical, approachable guide to navigating the world of finance, I highly recommend checking out Finanzas para no financieros. It's a fantastic resource.
Absolutely. And remember, financial literacy is a journey, not a destination. We're all learning and growing along the way.
Couldn't agree more. So keep asking those questions, keep exploring, and keep making those money moves with confidence. Until next time.